This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, joined by all the homies this week.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends.
Oh, now we're poet. He didn't know it.
Let's go. It's the summer, 47 days till college football. Lots
Man,
of shit has happened.
watching
Let's
tennis
go.
today really got you hyped, huh?
Man, tennis is something else.
We will definitely get Jim's thoughts on tennis since he watched an entire match, which he did not know what he was getting into, I'm sure.
No idea.
But today is Monday, July 17th. And as Jim has stated, preparation for the football season begins today. We are one step closer to the sports season we love and have no lack of opinions on as we break down the AFC West in the NFL on this episode.
I saw something that this is the last month where there is zero football until next March.
Canadians played. Not that we're going to talk about this.
Well,
Stampede
okay,
League-
college or
Stampede League
NFL.
played.
You're right.
Football that we care to talk about.
Yeah.
And I will get my fix anywhere I can.
As always, as a reminder, I am Muff, steering this rudderless ship, the original degenerate, joined by the Ohio Homer, the capo of the Midwest crack house, Jim.
Let's go.
As always, or most of the time, we have the medical degenerate, Alex,
That's me.
and the guru of officiating, Nate.
Back from the umpiring of the shitty baseball last week.
We're glad to have you.
It's unfortunate that you missed for a less than stellar baseball game. And in the background, as always, in the Harper household, the proprietor of Harper and Company, the guru of glitter, Sam.
Hi,
There
Good to
she
have you,
is,
Sam.
doing her homework.
I am writing a paper about dental education.
Oh, good job. We're proud of
Thank you. Thanks.
What's one thing that you would bestow upon the world about dental education tonight, Sam?
In West Virginia, there is none. But a bunch.
Mountain Dew's bad.
Mountain Dew's bad, and make sure you floss your teeth. We know when you don't do it, even if you tell us you do.
There's a lot of things you know that we don't know that you know.
You're right.
Yeah, we're not going to expand on that. This week's episode will cross all areas of sport, including professional football, college football, tennis, baseball, and so much more. We're not going to waste too much time before we get into it today, but we do want to hear about Jim's staycation this past week. Jim, tell us what you got into with a week off from work.
I watched all 6 Scream movies. I've been wanting to do that for a while. I built a shoe rack. I built a bench. I made some Halloween crafty designs. Went to a couple vintage toy stores. Crossed some things off my bucket list.
Are any of your crafty things on Etsy?
No, but I am kind of thinking about, designing Halloween stuff and sending it out there into the world for purchase. We shall see.
I think you know a person.
I know. I might have to partner up with somebody.
I can help you.
That's what I'm thinking about.
I'm a
How
star
would
seller. See, I can help you.
Oh, yeah, that person we were thinking of, and Sam.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I was the one that was nice originally, so.
Be sure to follow us on all the socials at Sports Gym Muff on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads.
Get the bells on. We're on the Threads.
Give it a little jingling.
I mean, if we get some traction on Threads, that'd be great. Threads was a big hype, but now it's kind of a boring place. There's not.
They say it's like dumbed down Twitter.
It's a lot more happy Twitter. I will.
Well,
say
yeah,
that.
I don't mean like dumb. I mean like just watered down.
It's definitely watered down Twitter. Yes, without the trolls. The trolls haven't made their way in there yet.
Oh, they are coming. We all
Oh,
know
they're at
coming.
the gates for sure.
They're at the gates.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Facebook and YouTube, sportstuffw.com/Jim Ampersand Muff. Jim has promised that he's going to toss some comments and some takes out today that are going to be perfect.
Oh yeah.
For the
We're gonna have
shorts.
For getting in Muff shorts.
Getting in Muff shorts.
Will be exciting for probably nobody.
Well,
Maybe Muff. I don't know.
Oh, it depends. Which kind of shorts? You talking gym shorts, cargo shorts?
Denim.
There's not much room
Sure.
for denim shorts usually.
Denim.
Dan, the Canadian tuxedo will be on full display. Quick Pittsburgh Pirates update coming out of the All-Star break. The Pittsburgh Pirates are now 41-52, losing their first 3 games after the mid-season classic to the Giants.
Not surprised.
Woe is the theme, as we just hope for some level of competitiveness the rest of the way from our team that's 10.5 games out of first place and only 1 game ahead of last place St. Louis in the NL Central.
Yeah, I think it's fair once you get to double digits that it's you go
You
back to
finally
that
are
old
gonna let it
feeling.
go.
Yeah, I think it's okay now.
Okay.
It's okay to feel the way we've felt all season.
Yeah, it's time to get the
We don't have to
nostalgia.
we don't have to validate our emotions.
That's true. They're always present and they were always valid.
But I mean, like hope is now kind of like meh. Okay.
Yeah, after the All-Star break, Pirates usually suck. So
Oh, and they just also announced 3 more call-ups going into the next series against Cleveland.
Yeah, I think Priester's coming up and he's going to start tomorrow or today, Monday.
They called him up, and then they just announced the time of this recording on Sunday. They called up Andy Rodriguez, and they said they're also going to call up it's like Perdugo.
It's that time of the season. Let's see what we can do next year or who we can get rid of before
That's what I'm
next
wondering.
year.
Like once they officially call up the other 2 guys from the minors, not Priester, but the other 2, who's going to be sent down,
Yeah, that's good.
or
good
who's going to
question.
be DFA?
Is Smith and Jigba still up or is he down?
He's down.
Yep. Never mind. That would have been the prime candidate again. I haven't seen him play. I haven't been watching as many games. But something we do want to talk about today and in the foreseeable future is the NFL.
thank goodness.
Very
So
excited.
before we get into our breakdown of the AFC West, we have a few items to chat about. First, a deal is finally done for DeAndre Hopkins, and he will be making his way to the Titans next season, ending the debate about where he would end up. Hopkins signs a 2-year, $26 million deal with up to $32 million total incentives, and he becomes the immediate number 1 target for Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee.
Or Will Levis.
Not right off the bat.
Current depth chart has Will Levis 3rd.
Yeah.
I think that's going to change by the end of training camp. But
I think this is a good move for D Hop. I think it's a good move for Tennessee. I don't know that this improves their chances at a Super Bowl. I still think they're missing a lot of key pieces in terms of getting to the next level of where they've always been in the offseason or in the postseason. But this gives them a fighting chance.
Yeah, I think it puts him back in the picture for maybe competing for the division.
Yeah.
as long as Hopkins stays healthy. Remember,
Right.
he's a bit of an aging receiver,
Mhm.
but he is a number 1 target. And
I was going to say it worked out well for him because he can walk into a team that isn't terrible and be the number 1 target. I think that's
Yeah.
what you have to look for when you're someone like him with talent but aging.
I agree. Yep.
Saints running back Alvin Kamara pleads no contest to a lesser charge than the original felony battery with substantial bodily harm from his time during the Pro Bowl in Vegas, and will have to do 30 hours of community service and pay the alleged victim in the fight $105,000, much less than I think the original $10 million this person was asking for, to recoup the medical bills. And Kamara also had to issue a public apology.
Which seems like a more harsh penalty than the Tennessee Volunteer Program, but whatever. More on that in the college football.
Bingo. So, I mean, this has been kind of lingering. I think everyone assumed that it was going to resolve itself before training camp. So,
Did we have video of this? Has anybody seen this?
I have not.
I believe there may have been some level of video. It wasn't just Kamara there. I think there were 2 others that were involved.
I can't remember where we landed as a podcast. Did we say that this alleged assault was justified, or did he step out of? Was he out of pocket for this one?
I think he was out of pocket for the level of harm that was.
I think, yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. Is that where we landed on that?
I feel like we had the conversation about like when you're that athletic, at what point are you like, yeah, Like I can make my point without killing someone. Not that he killed.
Yeah,
But,
that's
you
what
know,
I wondered. I wondered if it was a bit excessive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is where we landed. It was excessive violence.
Gotcha.
Hard Knocks will be with the New York Jets this season, and they will start to film this week. But at least one Jet is not excited, as Aaron Rodgers shares that it's basically being jammed down their throats to be the team highlighted in the series this fall.
You know what? Again, not a fan of Aaron Rodgers, but what exactly, A, does he mean by that? And two, did he think was going to happen?
Right, we talked about this last week, and I think we all came to the end conclusion that there was no other team that made any more sense than the Jets to have this. And it was not something the team probably wanted, not just Rodgers, but as a whole. I think any team at this point, right?
Yeah, no one wants it.
I mean, aside from Detroit Dan, I don't know anybody else who signs himself up for this. Anybody. Even like the Chiefs or the Chargers, who are relatively, okay, don't have a lot of internal drama, except now Chargers are pretty much dealing with a lot of drama with Eckler, but they have decent chemistry. They still wouldn't sign up for this. Now you have Rodgers, who's like the poster boy for news and stories. Like, come on, Aaron, you did this to yourself. You go on vacations where you go into dark rooms and you say you take drugs. You're a story machine.
I mean, I want to be clear. I don't think there are any drugs as part of the darkness retreat.
But he does say he takes drugs.
He has done ayahuasca in South America.
Okay, however you want to clarify it, he does drugs and he hides himself away in dark rooms. He's a story machine.
Sounds like every teenager in the world.
Yeah, new drugs, hide in dark rooms.
Except he's a grown-ass man.
He's got a lot on his plate, Jim.
Yeah.
It sounds like Jim's a little bit jealous of his lifestyle.
Do you wish to do this? When you get a migraine, is this not what you do?
Yeah.
Take drugs and hide in dark room.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that, Muff.
All right.
Speaking of a lifestyle I'm jealous of,
have at it, buddy.
Philip Rivers announces he's expecting his 10th child.
Holy smokes. Are you jealous that he has 10 kids or that he's getting
this much sex? Holy shit.
I was going to say that he's creating this many kids.
This man, I think all he does now in his retirement is have sex.
Well, he also coaches football now.
Well, because he's got half a fucking football team.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's just like, crap, we don't have a good tight end. Honey, get in here.
So what are like him and Nick Cannon like in
Whoa.
Cannon
Nick Cannon has several baby mamas. Mr. Rivers sticks with one.
Well, okay. I'll give him that, but
She is a baby making machine.
Yeah.
They're just going to fall out this time. Boom.
That is
Straight from the medical degenerate.
Bingo.
Do we know if any of these children are like twins or are they all 10 individual pregnancies?
I'm pretty sure it's all individual. I'm almost certain.
what's this dude's name?
Philip Rivers.
Philip Rivers.
What's this dude?
Someone's doing her homework right now.
Might be your new guy, Sam.
He's 41.
Okay.
I mean, Keith
He
Richards
does-
still having kids. Billy Joel's still having kids.
He only has one kid like listed on Google, but hold on.
Oh,
let me-
Well, trust me.
There are
Google
8
be
others.
wrong.
Let me do
There
a
are 8
little
others
bit.
plus 1 in the making. He does not swear, Sam.
Yeah, Philip Rivers is trying out for
No.
TLC.
He doesn't swear. His shit talking is horrible, though.
It's
Hilarious.
awesome, actually.
That you can
Horrible.
exist in
Jeez,
a
right.
professional sport and trash talk without swearing ever.
RS.
He's a devout Catholic.
Oh yeah, he's really practicing that.
His pullout game is not strong.
Okay, they have 9 other children ranging from age 4 to 21.
Good grief.
Okay.
Girls, 2 boys. One of their sons is getting ready to be the starting quarterback at St. Michael Catholic, where Rivers coaches.
In Wheeling?
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
Pro bowler who nearly has a football team of his own at home.
That's what I'm saying.
bring another child into the world.
Man's an all-star. All right.
It doesn't look like any of them are twins. I just looked at the pictures and they all look like they're different ages.
No, they are.
Like there's no twins.
So
Nope.
it's like that you got that many times pregnant and
Yep.
Yeah,
Good
I'm looking at one of
film.
the she just pulled up, and yeah, they're definitely all, unless one of them is non-identical, but I mean they all look definitely different ages.
Some of them are like a year apart.
My great grandma was pregnant like 20 years in a row because she had 16 kids. So I
holy
mean,
shit.
yeah, these people are just living like they did back in the 1900s.
And
So
he's
since
got the money to afford it.
So since Philip Rivers couldn't win a championship, he's got to try it in something else, I guess.
He's
Well,
winning.
Sorry.
He's winning that battle. That's the goal. He's winning. All right. Speaking of the Chargers, this week's NFL breakdown is the AFC West, which includes the Chargers, obviously. Last year's standings had the Super Bowl champ Chiefs atop the division, finishing 14-3 to earn the top seed in the AFC, while the Chargers were in second place at 10-7, the Raiders in third at 6-11, and the Russ Wilson-led Broncos, let's ride, ended in last at 5-12. So we're going to go from the bottom division to the top. First, just looking at some additions, losses, what they got in the draft, or at least in the first few rounds. I didn't go as deep as all rounds of the draft. And general players of note that should be keys to success for each team, in addition to our just general banter. Starting with the Broncos, with Sean Payton taking the helm this year, and all the discussion on if he can right the Russ Wilson ship.
No, he can't.
You want to
Not
talk
your-
about rudderless ship.
Let's just get that out the way. He's not going to be able to fix Russ Wilson. I like the coaching addition. I just don't like the QB.
So
I think
go ahead.
I was going to jump to the addition of the running back from the Bengals. I think that's a great addition too. I think those are the upsides for me for the Broncos.
That would be Samaje Perine from the Bengals. They also have acquired wide receiver Marquez Callaway from the Saints, defensive end Frank Clark, guard Ben Powers, tackle Mike McGlinchey, and linebacker Alex Singleton. Losses: D lineman Draymond Jones and kicker Brandon McManus, who has been a staple in Denver for years. In the draft, they picked up wide receiver Marvin Mims Jr., I believe from Oklahoma, linebacker Drew Sanders, and quarterback Riley Moss. And the players of note for the Broncos, obviously Russ Wilson, running back Javonte Williams, who I believe was hurt at the end of last year, and the wide receiving core of Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, and Courtland Sutton. Big question there is, can they stay healthy this year?
think
Go ahead.
I just think that, like, on paper, the Broncos look like they should have a good season, but I do not think that Russ Wilson will lead them to that victory.
I want to preface this statement by saying, Alex, I am not arguing with you.
Uh-huh.
This is not me picking a fight. I want to know what specifically stands out to you that says on paper this looks good.
On paper, I think that, like, Sean Payton, notoriously a winning coach,
I agree.
good leader. Like you said, Samaje Perine, not a bad pickup. He actually did
Yes.
some good stuff in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Your wide receiver core is decent. You have Marquez Callaway and then the Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, Courtland Sutton. That's four, to me, serviceable receivers. Patrick Surtain, good cornerback. I think that you have enough going on where you could make a argument that at least, like, offensively they could have a solid team. If you put a good quarterback there, I think that they have a solid team. I'm not saying they're like Super Bowl champion good. I'm just saying I think on paper they look better than they will actually be.
I agree with that statement. My major drawback, I think Jerry Judy's overrated. I think he's a bum.
He's a bum that's always hurt.
And I just don't think I think he's junk. I don't think he's good. Hot take, whatever you want to call it. I just don't think he's good.
I don't think he's the best wide receiver in the league or anything like that, but I think he's a serviceable option.
And I think that if I were the Broncos, that's where I'm investing a lot more of my time and looking is the next wide receiver.
I guess the only part I disagree with is I mean maybe they'll make the argument that Russ Wilson would be better with better receivers. I mean, I
That's
guess
coming.
he did
That
look
is
better.
coming.
He did look better with like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett in Seattle than he does now. So I guess you could make that argument. But then again, you can also make the argument he's not doing great. Why invest in people that can catch a ball? Let's invest in something different until we can get our next quarterback great.
Well, and the Seahawks made Geno Smith look good, so
Well, he is good.
Right.
That's different.
maybe Jim's onto something there.
He is good. So that's different.
Nate, any thoughts?
I think they have a lot of guys on the offensive side of the ball that are inexperienced and unproven, and someone's got to step up. I mean, like Alex said, they have 4 serviceable receivers, but who's going to step up and be that number 1 threat? I mean, I don't see a 1, let alone a true number 2 on any other team if they were to switch teams.
I agree. Next, let's chat about the Raiders as they welcome Coach Josh McDaniels back for his second year in Vegas. And they hope bringing Jimmy G can get them moving in the right direction alongside running back Josh Jacobs.
I think and we'll go into it a little deeper, I'm sure, but I think that Josh McDaniels is a shit coach. If Sean Payton had this roster, all the things Alex just said would be true. I think that on paper, this roster has the makings of a great team, minus Jimmy G, maybe. If Jimmy G stays healthy, sure. I like this roster a lot. I hate that as a Chargers fan because I don't like the Raiders, but I think this has the makings of a good roster.
Don't disagree. Key additions, obviously, we have Jimmy G. You hear that, Sam? Jimmy G.
Dougie.
Bingo. Wide receiver Jacoby Myers coming from the Patriots, tackle Alex Bars, linebacker Bobby Spillane coming from the Steelers, and guard Jermaine Illuminor. Key losses, Derek Carr making his way to New Orleans, and Darren Waller leaving as their number 1 tight end option and sometimes their number 1 receiving option prior to Devontae Adams.
I am interested to see the mentality of this team without Derek Carr. Because if they come out with a whole different feeling to them, a whole different mentality, I think that speaks more to Derek Carr and I think he's a head case. I think that he's what kind of wrecks a team.
See, I never got that vibe from Derek Carr personally.
I did towards the end.
Well, I think everyone knew that there was that falling out coming, right?
But I think that like when Gruden took him and kind of like wrapped his arm around him, he needed a coach like Gruden to do that. And I think that was the issue with him at the Raiders is either you embrace Derek Carr and like coddle him or you don't get anything out of him. And that's what happened to the Raiders here. That's my opinion.
All right. In the draft, they picked up DN Tyree Wilson, I believe, from Texas Tech. Tight end Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. Wide receiver Trey Tucker. And cornerback Jacorian Bennett.
I like the addition of Trey Tucker. I think he's going to be a nice serviceable running or wide receiver for them. I really do.
Yep. And that is a crowded wide receiver room, as the other players of note. Aside from Jimmy G, Josh Jacobs. In the wide receiver room, they have Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Jacoby Myers. And on the defensive side of the ball, they have ends Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. Real quick, before we end the Raiders, has anyone watched any of the episodes of Quarterback yet?
Not yet.
No.
I'm through 7 out of the 8.
Max Crosby, Patrick Mahomes getting into it. In that series.
That's one of those I'd rather see those two in a boxing match for charity versus who is it?
Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see that Zuckerberg fight pretty bad.
Yeah, even in that quarterback thing, Mahomes is like, yeah, when Andy Reid's pulling you out of the pile or whatever, it's like, it's getting a little too serious.
Getting a little too emotional here, buddy. But if anybody is watching quarterback, we will talk about that at some point. I think it's a very good overall series. Excited to see who they highlight this upcoming season. Moving along to the Chargers.
Yeah.
The Chargers, Jim, are looking to turn the corner this year, and Justin Herbert is hoping to have another big year and cash in on his next contract behind your favorite head coach, Jim, Brandon Staley.
I hate Staley. I hate him so bad. Big ass risk taker. Thinks that it's a statistical game. Has no real feel for the emotions of a game. I hate that man.
They didn't do much in the offseason, so there's not much to chat about aside from their draft class and their returning players, which they hope are going to traject them to victory. The key addition is linebacker Eric Kendricks, and a loss. I'm not sure it's a key loss. Was Kyle Van Noy. TBD on the key there. In the draft, they picked up wide receiver Quentin Johnson from Big 12 school TCU. Woo! Linebacker Tui Palatu.
You did good there.
That was good.
Barely saw that. And linebacker Dan Henley.
The wide receiver is always going to be a great addition. We'll keep adding linebackers till something clicks. I mean, that's kind of like a given. So, typical Chargers draft.
No
I like that draft pick of Quentin Johnson and putting him up with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen there.
Yeah.
Because the team we have yet to talk about, the Chiefs, you got to have some weapons there to be able to score at will with them.
All right, Jim. Players of note for the Chargers are, and you can add or subtract anything you want to.
No, I think you got them all. Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Quentin Johnson, tight end Gerald Everett, Bosa, Khalil Mack, Eric Kendricks. I think those are good ones, if you're asking me. The defense is going to be strong. I like the defense if they stay healthy the entire season as a unit. I think the Austin Eckler drama needs to be squared away. Pay the man his money.
Yeah, you don't have much. I don't feel like you have much outside of him that you can be like, well, we have this, and this, so we don't really have to pay you. Like, I feel like they need him more than Austin needs
Yeah.
them.
Unless you're going to go pick up like a Zeke. Unless you're going to throw some money at like,
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop playing games. Like, he makes your team. Stop it.
Yeah.
And even then, like, if you pick up Zeke, are you going to ask him to chip for you to keep people off? Like, damn it.
He's not going to do it.
No, off Herbert. You're not going to have somebody keep people off of him.
I don't think that's Zeke's strength either.
That's what I mean.
No.
No, anymore. If you bring in Zeke, you're bringing him for short yardage goal line offense.
Right. So like, pay the man his damn money.
Pay that man his money. Yeah, Chargers, Jim. How you feeling? Because I think if anything, this roster is one that on paper should be good.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
You have good offensive players in the skill positions, and you have a solid defense at pretty much every level.
Yeah, I agree. I think the drama with Eckler and the coach's piss poor decision making needs to stop. And I hope they pull Staley in, and they're like, hey, buddy, let's ease up on the going for the fourth down when the vibe of the game doesn't call for that shit.
And lastly, in the AFC West, we end with the Chiefs coming off another Super Bowl win for Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the gang. But
Is that how you refer to that? I'm not being an asshole. I'm really asking because I'm noticing on social media that it's, Patrick Mahomes is a future Hall of Famer.
That's
agreed.
But the social media presence and the vibe of the Chiefs is it's Kelce's team.
I think those two, Kelce, right, has a reason to want that to be the narrative because he also has a career outside of football that has to do with a social media presence.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's his like when they're at the White House. Even he was the guy who.
I think he
Oh,
makes himself that guy.
right. So is it his team? That's the question I have here.
He's the elder statesman as far as the talent
Okay.
in that room, and Patrick Mahomes is a $500 million player. So I think Kelsey is the mouthpiece for the team, and Mahomes is the he think he benefits greatly from Travis Kelsey being there.
Being the clown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
I
go
think-
with that.
I think Kelsey's just way more outgoing in the public eye. And I don't even think it's like intentionally like, look at me, look at me. I think that's just who he is as a person. He attracts that attention more. But I think when it comes down to the football aspect of it, it's Patrick Mahomes' team. I think when it comes to the media aspect of it, it's Travis Kelsey's team.
Fair enough.
They obviously lose Eric Bieniemy. We'll see if that has any impact on the offense early on this season. There's all the reason in the world, right, for continued optimism for this squad, making their way deep into the playoffs again and winning the division, competing the AFC's best record, and it seemed to come out in a lot of what they did in the offseason. That's if it's not broke, don't fix it. They didn't do too much to upset the apple cart in free agency, but they did let offensive tackle Orlando Brown get away.
And Chad Henne.
Well, he retired, but he was a key piece to their playoff run.
Yeah, he was.
So I mean that is a key loss, having that veteran presence behind Mahomes. It's no longer there. They did bring in Blaine Gabbert, career backup quarterback, and they brought in Jawan Taylor to replace Orlando Brown on that offensive line.
Listen, career backup NFL quarterback is not a bad gig.
No, not at all.
No, you're still doing really well.
Yep.
In the draft, they picked up D-end Felix Inadik Uzoma, wide receiver Rashee Rice, and offensive tackle Wanya Morris. Players of note for this team, obviously, we have Mahomes. At running back, we have Isaiah Pacheco. Interesting to see what the running back situation turns to in Kansas City. Nate, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
I think especially after watching that quarterback for the first 7 episodes and thinking about what they have. I mean, Pacheco's like another wide receiver in the backfield, that speed. So I think he's definitely going to be running back 1. And then I think how we said earlier with Zeke being like that short yardage guy, I feel like that's what Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to end up being, is more of the in-between tackles when they need it. And Pacheco's going to be the every down back.
Yeah, wide receiver, they have Marcus Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney. The leading receiver, obviously, Travis Kelsey at tight end. On the defensive side of the ball, they have tackle Chris Jones and linebacker Willie Gay. The wide receiver room, to me, is what makes or breaks this team. Like, you have to have somebody to pull defenders off of Travis Kelsey. And if they can't do that, whether it's with the receiving core or with Pacheco out of the backfield, that's could be a problem. Although it hasn't been a problem yet. That's the area that if teams can figure out how to key on Kelsey without having to waste too many players to go against other skill positions, I think that's maybe a solution, but nobody's figured it out yet.
I respectfully counter you for a second. I don't disagree. I'm not willing to get in here and slug with you, but the Chargers hang in with the Chiefs and sometimes beat the Chiefs with that game of just throw as many linebackers on the field and have them rushing defensive ends and just make Patrick Mahomes panic and just bury the middle of the field. And that's how they figured out Kelsey. And when those wide receivers for the Chiefs, to your point, aren't healthy or aren't running up to snuff that day, that's how the Chargers get a sniff at them.
Can you sorry.
No, go ahead.
Question for you. Do you see Patrick Mahomes panicking with pressure?
He does sometimes if he's been hit a couple times, like in the Eagles game and the couple of Chargers games I've watched. If he takes a couple hits, if you ding him a little bit, that's where he starts to like get in his head. I'm not saying that he's a panicking quarterback. Don't get it twisted.
No, yeah.
But what I'm saying is if he gets roughed up a little bit by some big bullies, then his decision making and his rhythm gets thrown off. And I think that that's kind of the answer to somebody who's Superman.
Yeah. See, sometimes I look at him less of a panicking and more of a frustrated. Like I get like that. Like when I
Right,
start
that's what
getting
I'm
frustrated,
saying.
I start like effing things up, and I'm not like. And then you're getting the more you like mess it up, the more you
Right.
get, like I could see that he does. Yeah,
Yes. And I think that's the answer. Not every team's equipped for it. That's what I mean. Like the Eagles, the Chargers, guys who want to come and bang in the front there,
like a
hang out in
healthy
the
Bosa.
middle. Right. We're good. But not every team has that.
I will say between the quarterbacks highlighted on quarterback, Mahomes seemed to express the most frustration and emotion out of all of those quarterbacks. Nate, does that seem on par with what you watched?
Yeah, I'd say he's definitely the most fiery of the three that are on there. And then, like, I'd really recommend Jim and Alex get in the room and watch it because I mean, Kirk Cousins. I mean, I know we're not breaking down a NFC North right now, but he was one that was really interesting to watch. The way he works up to a game, the way he is in a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found myself right. There's a lot of the knocks on Cousins, and this made me appreciate him a little bit more.
Yeah,
But
I'm the same way. I feel more appreciative of Kirk Cousins, and I think I like him more as an NFL quarterback now after watching the series.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to watch this then.
yeah,
Oh, I'm definitely excited about watching it. I'm watching The Crown right now, so I gotta finish that first.
Right. The
Yeah,
Scream series for me was
I can't watch more than one
priority.
thing at a time. I get very distracted.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But I will definitely quarterback will be next.
bingo. All right, so we come to our predictions for the AFC West. Nate and Alex, are you ready for this, or do you need a second and let Jim and I go?
Go ahead, I'll wing it.
Okay. I will start. I have in last place the Raiders at 5-12, the Broncos in third place at 8-9, improving a little bit, but not to the point of being competitive. The Chargers at 10-7, and the Chiefs at 13-4, winning the division.
I have the Broncos at the end, the tail end here at 6-11. The Raiders, this is hard for me. I have them 8-9, but very much could go 9-8. I'm very out to lunch on this one. Then I have the Chargers at 13-4, and then the Chiefs at 15-2. Because I can't say they're going to be perfect, but maybe.
A 17-game season adds another layer to that perfection, right? That's even more difficult to win 17 in the regular season.
And as a Chargers fan, like you hope they get one, right? Like you hope one of those losses is to the Chargers, but the Chiefs' schedule looks nice. Like they got a nice little run here they can make. So
All right,
13-2.
Alex.
I think I have a similar lineup to Jim, but I will go Chiefs 14-3. I'm a Jim maybe higher, but I'm being conservative there. Chargers about 12-5, Raiders around 10-7, Broncos 6-11 at best.
At best.
Yeah.
All right, Nate.
I've got the Chiefs at 13-4. I was going between 13-4 and 12-5 because I think they've got some growing pains we have to go through here with the receivers and losing your OC. Chargers, I have 11-6. Raiders at 9-8, and the Broncos at 7-10.
I feel like this is all pretty safe here. Well, if I'm interested, you are the only one to have the Broncos. I think.
Yeah.
The Broncos third.
Sean Payton effect. I mean, it's still not a winning season, but I think the Raiders are going to sputter. I really do. I think this is going to be a season of dysfunction, and they're going to be blowing it up after this. I mean, they can't really blow too much up. Jimmy G just signed a huge contract, but I think there's some dark times ahead in Las Vegas.
Okay.
All right, that wraps up the AFC West. Next week, we're going to chat about the NFC West and continue to make our way through the NFL divisions in anticipation for NFL football in September. I believe September's first or second Sunday in September is week 1 for the NFL.
I'm pumped.
So, moving on from professional football league into college football. Not a lot of positives to talk about in college football this week. As we have Northwestern and Tennessee, the 2 programs that we're going to be discussing.
Strap in. Let's go.
Strap in. So feel free to interject at any point during this discussion about what has happened at both of these schools as we go through them. First, we'll be starting with Northwestern, as after initially getting a 2-game suspension, Pat Fitzgerald is at Northwestern after more information comes to light about the alleged hazing and racism claims from the Daily Northwestern, a school that prides themselves on reporters coming out of their school. Of course, it's the student newspaper that makes this happen.
I'm going to tackle the hazing. Somebody else jump in for the racist stuff because I haven't seen a lot of that, but I would like to dive into that once you reveal it to me. What was being done was the Shrek clap.
This is all alleged at this point. Let's toss that out there.
In quotes.
Yeah.
Is the Shrek clap is a routine to be identified as who to be hazed next. Do we know who was doing the Shrek clapping? I believe it was Fitzy, right?
That was like over their head, right? It was some kind of like weird.
Yes, they were clapping above their head, I believe.
Okay.
And then that would put the player on the Shrek list, and that would be the ones identified as players to be hazed for the activities.
No, to be run.
Oh, hold on. I'm not there yet, Muff. For the activities to come.
Yeah.
So Shrek here is Fitz. So I want to be clear: the players are referencing their coach as Shrek.
Are they referencing him as Shrek, or is this the action of the clap?
And then that's Shrek's list.
Okay.
So therefore, Fitz is Shrek.
Okay.
Okay. The hazing. One activity is called running. Player is restrained by 8 to 10 upperclassmen dressed in purse masks, and then they're dry humped. Okay. Then there is the car wash. Player stands naked at the entrance of the shower and then spin around, forcing those entering the showers to rub against them. They are then hosed down. So if you do bad at practice, you're forced to be dry humped by people in purse masks and car washed. Okay? Then there's slingshotting, which I need somebody to help me with this. Players strip naked and slingshot himself across the floor with exercise bands. Is it the player who is on the list that gets slingshotted?
I'm going to assume if one of the people is naked.
I'm being shot at by a naked man. Am I the target?
I would say whoever's naked is the person who's being punished.
Is the victim.
Yes.
Okay. Then the Gatorade Shake Challenge, where players are forced to drink as many Gatorades as they can in a 10-minute period and don't throw up. And Fitzy was trying to say he didn't know about this.
Yes. He hasn't said anything that I'm aware of.
No, he was denying it in the beginning.
Well, yeah, since
if a grown-ass man is being shot across the floor naked by exercise bands and he has no clue, there's no wonder why they had such a losing season. He can't see for shit.
This was the discussion. They needed a babysitter. Well, they needed more than a babysitter.
Babysitter? They need Jesus.
Jesus and apparently a Title IX session.
Good God.
So, yeah, that's a lot. And also, allegedly, there was at one point, and a picture has not come out, is that there was a whiteboard in the locker room that listed out, not in detail, but listed the basic premise of these activities on a whiteboard. I don't think there were any names, but that may be why it hasn't come out yet, because maybe there are names associated on whatever this whiteboard was. That again was it was being said was in the middle of the locker room, like it wasn't just in a dark corner somewhere where Aaron Rodgers is doing ayahuasca. It was like front and center.
So the Shrek list was out and about.
Again, I don't know what the list. Again, it hasn't come out, which is always cause for concern whenever you have something that is that smoking gun situation that has not come out yet. When you're talking about all these other things, if there's a whiteboard with all of this, then what are we even waiting for? But my guess is if this does exist, there were names on there, and that's why it hasn't been released yet.
This is supposed to be the smart group of people. This is the smart football team.
Class smarts may be there, Jim.
Spin around butt ass naked.
Whack people with your pecker.
Like
That's
why?
what I'm seeing. Like the
The helicopter.
well,
Yes.
no,
Well,
like
not
the spinning,
really.
like the spinning phone things.
Yeah.
It's
A little
just
bit
that's weird to me.
A little bit different than the helicopter, Jim.
Yeah, the helicopter's more of this motion.
Right. This is more a roundabout.
Yeah, it's like this. I think they're going in circles with the whack whack.
What the hell? Let's get into the racist shit.
This is Blue Mountain State, right? This is what we
except like
turned
not as
into.
clever. Like this shit is just stupid.
Yeah. So if that wasn't enough to put Fitzgerald out on the streets, there were also claims, and there's actually somebody who was quoted in this one, claims of racism within the program, which you take a look at the roster, might not be hard to sell based on the racial makeup of the program.
Yeah.
So
Because they can't find any black folks in, Northwestern.
I'm saying that because Pac-Man Jones also said this on the Pat McAfee show. He was very just look at the roster. It's about all he said. He's like, don't think too hard, guys.
Right.
And there were allegations or discussions that black players with dreads were forced to cut their hair, while other players that had the flowing locks were not requested to do the same.
Oh, I'm sure if there was a linebacker looking like Sunshine, it was okay. I'm sure.
There was a former Latino player, Ramon Diaz Jr. He was quoted as saying, "I didn't feel like I could be anything other than white. We never felt like we could be ourselves. We had to fit in by being white or acting white or laughing at our own people." That is a quote. That's about the only quote I've seen from a player in this whole shooting match.
This is unbelievable to me. I just don't get it.
How long has this been going on? Obviously, I think Diaz is from the mid 2010s, maybe player. So, I mean, you're talking this is potentially a decade-ish of things happening. Maybe not all at once, but things happening.
It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
It is. On the coaching front, reportedly, I haven't seen this. Somebody else saw this be true. New defensive coordinator Davis Brown, who came from North Dakota State, will be named the interim. Have fun with that, buddy.
I mean, that's a culture change.
Yeah. You think that you just, scored going to North Dakota State to a program like Northwestern. You're coming in to be the defensive coordinator. Here you go. Take over this just absolute shitstorm of a program.
But wait. The highlight of this during my week of staycation, Ed Ogeron
Go Tigers.
was rumored to be in the mix for this job. So I just want to be real clear. The school that touts itself on graduation rate, the smart kids school that just had the dumbest shit I've ever heard, is now going to bring Ed in to change the culture.
His own Title IX nightmare.
Maybe their thought is this system didn't work out. Let's go in the complete opposite direction.
Let's lean into the guy who just says, "Yep, I did it."
Yep. Yeah.
We won
that way
game.
they know right off the bat. I mean, they don't have to go through this years of, right off the bat, did you do this? Yep. Here's your severance package. Which store would you like me to use?
But you got to figure Ed's not going to let some, dumb freaking white kids swinging their peckers around. He's going to be like, Hey boy, stop that! Don't need that shit.
Well, that's true too.
He's gonna say we don't need one.
I'll write that
baby.
thing off. You keep that in your pants. That's fucking weird. Just keep that in your pants. Right?
Ed's gonna say we don't need one babysitter. Give me 10, and they're under my rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Don't worry, guys. More did happen at Northwestern this past week, as their baseball coach also fired amid allegations of bullying and abusive behavior. Apparently, they're looking to everybody at Northwestern now.
So does the AD get fired for this, you think?
He's got to be somebody that they're looking real deeply into and asking questions about. Did you know about any of this before we made you look into this deeper?
So
Or
I'm gonna make the argument. How would he know? Like, very rarely, I feel like, and I could be off base here. Tell me if I am. Do athletic directors really have much like hands-on with the team, or is it more managing the outer stuff? Like
I'm gonna
director
interrupt you.
practice?
I'm gonna interrupt you.
Okay.
I have witnessed the involvement of athletic directors in certain situations, and I can tell you that in a culture like that, if this has been going on, where there's a Shrek list, and in a culture where non-white folks feel like they got to be white, and there's naked men flying around via athletic bands, that's got to be hard to be kept secret.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I didn't, and it's truly, I just don't know. How hands-on are you? Are you there during practice sometimes? Are you there, or are you just there on game day when everything's shiny and polished?
You gotta figure he's got his hand a little bit on the pulse. A little bit.
yeah,
Enough to know there's a list.
Yeah, you have to have your hand on the pulse. You don't have to know the daily comings and goings, but when things like this have maybe been compounding for years, maybe a decade, you've got to have heard about something.
Yeah. Well, you haven't really heard much from him either in defense of anything.
I
Well,
like to think it.
Sport of this school too. So I feel like if all the sports, it's not like you're at a school like, for example, in North Carolina where it's basketball. I mean, this is where you have the most athletes. This is where your whole athletic budget is coming in. I know they're not going to make a shit ton of money in this, but this is your cash cow as far as athletics. You've got to know.
Agreed.
I would like to think, okay, that at some point in this conversation, he pulls up to Fitzy and he's like, Fitzy, awfully white out here today. It's been awfully white here for a while. What's up with that? Like,
And Fitzgerald's combats that statement with, the ultimate terrible thing to say. Well, Mr. AD, what do you want? Good football or good grad rates? And then that to me is a Fitzgerald statement that could be made.
100%.
Like, well, I guess I see your point. So is this from all the way up top where this is just like, this is
and that's what does them in,
right?
Yep, 100%. Because I'm sorry, and I might just get totally canceled for this, and I'm okay. This might be the death of sports stuff with Jim and Muff, okay? But if you walk on a field, okay, and you look across the field and you see a Michigan, a Penn State, an Ohio State, and you see a very diverse football team, and it's kicking your ass year in and year out, and you look across the other side, and it's not diverse, and the coach says to you, graduation rates, and you go, okay, are you not admitting then that white folks get better grades? And if that's your mission, isn't that a problem?
Like, yeah.
If that's your perception of how to achieve the mission.
Yeah.
I think that is, it should be somewhere in an athletic director and head coach's mind of, hey, we want to make sure players come in, they advance their athletic careers if that's what they want to do, but they also get a degree. It's whenever you say, oh, the perception of this is it has to look like this, that's the problem.
Yes. Northwestern, man. Black eye. Should get a huge black eye for this. Let's go to the next black eye because, man, I am hot for this one.
Tennessee. The Volunteers volunteered a good bit to get away kind of scot-free. The NCAA will not be levying a bowl ban against the Volunteers, but did find a whole lot of other shit to get involved with, as they find more than 200 violations when investigating the program. This was primarily, if not entirely, through Pruitt's ring, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay. Tennessee has been charged with 18 level 1 violations. For those that are not aware, that is the most severe in the NCAA rule structure.
The worst.
The worst. And they found 18 of them. Not 1, not 2, not 5, not 10, but 18.
18.
Included among the more than 200 infractions were charges of 60 grand in impermissible benefits, and both former head coach Jeremy Pruitt and his wife Casey making cash payments to players' families.
Stop. Pause.
Pause.
Okay. Nate, who's your college football team?
West Virginia.
Alex?
West Virginia.
Muff?
Penn State.
Trick question.
I'm Ohio State. Okay.
Wait.
If your hold on, Sam. If your team,
I have no idea.
okay, has 18 level 1 violations, and your team, not NIL, but your coach is caught handing out cash money to recruit players. Okay. And this many violations and this many things over the course of 2 years. Let's just say 2 years. Nate, what is the expectation you as a fan would expect the punishment to be for your program?
Well, if that coach was still a part of the program, he'd obviously be gone.
But let's say he's already out. Let's say
Right.
the same.
I mean, if I'm putting myself in this situation, I'm thinking, all right, they're talking about this probation, whatever the hell that means. But I'm assuming that means that they probably are ineligible to do in any postseason game. Probably same thing for like a conference championship game. And like it says here, like reduction of scholarships. I mean, I don't know what else you really can do to keep a program alive without.
That's
really,
your expectation when you heard that, right?
correct.
Or Alex, do you differ in any way?
Not really, no.
Nate or Muff, do you differ in any way?
No, I just, to what extent? I mean, those are all of the things that are on the table. Yeah.
All of the things on the table. So they got an $8 million fine, reduced their scholarships, which we all called 28 scholarships,
Which is like 10 more than they'd already self-imposed.
and Pruitt got
12.
Pruitt got a 6-year show cause. And that's it. That's it. No bowl ban, like Nate said. No conference championship ban, like Nate said. Nothing.
I'm honestly kind of surprised the coach wasn't fired.
Well, he was already gone.
He was already gone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And here's
Yeah.
the only that I could think of.
Sorry, I still see one.
With the bowl ban and postseason thing, it's like, how do you punish those incoming kids that had nothing to do with this by saying, oh, yeah, we really want you to come here and be a part of our program, but by the way, your 4 years here, you'll never play in a bowl game.
Well, I think that's the point. That's the point. It hurts recruiting because kids aren't going to like. I think that's the punishment of it.
You want to talk to Ohio State? Because that happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think happened to Penn State over the Jerry thing, if I'm not mistaken, Muff.
Yeah.
How many years was Ohio State's postseason banned?
At least a year.
Yeah, it was the Bill O'Brien days for Penn State.
Well, if they were to have a postseason ban, Jim, given the severity of this versus other things that did get a postseason ban, what do you think Tennessee deserves? 1 year or more?
I think the death penalty.
See,
No.
and this is here's I'm not going to go as far to that because Tennessee
200 violations.
I'm not going to say that they did everything they could, but they were pretty proactive about. They reduced their own scholarships before any of this went down, Jim.
200 violations.
But were they all under Pruitt? Because as far as I understand, they are, and he's not there anymore. If he was still there,
because he sucked.
Right. Well, say he didn't suck and say they were winning, then I would argue for the death penalty because he's still there while all of this.
But that's ifs and wases.
Well,
Black and white 200 violations that they willingly committed.
Yeah,
who else is involved though? If it's just Pruitt that's involved with this, we haven't seen all of these violations and who's attached to all of them, Jim.
I agree with Muff. So how are you going to put a death penalty on someone who had nothing to do with it?
5 years then. Screw it. If you guys don't want to kill the program, 200 violations. What is the point in do it? What is the point in NCAA?
But so say right now we found out that Jim Tressel had 200 violations. Jim Tressel, would you say Ohio State deserves a death penalty?
Yes.
Even though that the current people, Ryan Day has nothing to do with the situation, and all of the players there have nothing. None of them caused a problem.
Years later, not 2 years. If
this is from 2019, Jim.
It's 2023-24 season.
If yes, I still would do it. Yeah.
They also vacated their wins. That's another punishment, quote unquote.
They're not in the top 10 of the wins. 200 violations.
I'm very, very, very rare. Like, for me to be in favor of a death penalty of a program, there needs to be like civil rights crime. Like, I would, before this one, I would say that before I gave Tennessee the death penalty, I would give Northwestern the death penalty.
Jim?
If I have to pick between the two teams right now, gun to my head, and pick one of them to have a death penalty, I pick the team that actually caused harm to human beings and their livelihood, not the financial aspect. I'm not saying what they did is right. I agree. Even down to the postseason ban, I'm fine with whatever. Take their wins away for those seasons, take their scholarships away. But do you really kill something that 10 years from now is going to be completely removed from the people that had the problem? And if they're playing clean football, should we really take away school's entire football program forever over something that happened in a specific area of time?
The SMU was shut down in the late or mid 80s. The most serious violation was the maintenance of a slush fund used for under the table payments to players and their families to entice them to come to SMU.
I wouldn't have agreed with that. They got the
death penalty.
Okay. I wouldn't have agreed with that either, though.
Were any of Tennessee violations, I don't think we have the answer to this, involve recruiting?
Yes. Yes, they tried to pay some players. The guy still didn't go to Tennessee because they sucked. He went to Georgia, but they have been caught trying to pay players to come to Tennessee.
They've been caught. So do you think that other teams out there have not been caught?
Yes.
That's what I mean.
Everybody's doing it, but if you get caught, it's cheating. That's the whole definition of cheating. It's not cheating unless you get caught.
No, I agree. I'm just saying I don't think that this is to me, it would have to be a heinous crime to end a football program.
Especially heinous.
Especially, exactly. SVU level heinous.
But no postseason ban?
I said that. I said I'd be fine with a postseason ban if it came up.
How many years?
No more than 3.
I'd say 2.
How many did Penn State get?
For
something they had nothing to do with.
Well, they did. It was still a coach.
So for me, Penn State
still a coach at one point.
I go back to Penn State's situation having been directly involving the detriment of a human being. Like, there was something that was bad done to another human being. It was not it wasn't a recruiting thing. It was that little kids were touched inappropriately. To me, that trumps everything else. These players at Northwestern were touched inappropriately. Like, that kind of thing to me is a different level than, hey, we snuck him some money trying to get him to come play football with us. So I'm not saying it's right.
Penalty to Penn State, just out of curiosity.
I would have understood it more than a death penalty in this situation.
Okay, I agree with you. I'll go with this. That's fine.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm interested in Muff's response in that you're telling me the Jerry thing is something we should have punished the whole football program for, simply because he was a coach.
And it happened in the facilities and people were aware within the program about it.
Okay, I'm going to come back at you later in a private conversation about that.
What if you go back and say anyone that was involved with Pruitt who would have had knowledge to what he was doing needs to be fired and removed? I'd get on board with that.
Okay.
Anyone who came after he was gone, anyone who came in, to me, is innocent because they weren't there participating in this. So punishing them, is it worth it? And the only way I think you can instill a postseason ban on this would be if you do it within like a year of the crime. Because I think that if you do it after that, you're punishing people who did nothing wrong.
Granted,
Penn-
granted, the head coach isn't
originally
there anymore.
occurred. So Penn State originally occurred a 4-year bowl ban and scholarship limitations, and they were halted in 2014 due to quote remarkable progress.
Right. I think it was 2 years that they had in the bowl ban, right? Also,
Right, but they were originally given 4.
They got off on good behavior. They got out early on good behavior, basically.
To sit there and say they can pay $8 million and reduce scholarships and that makes it okay and vacate some wins is ridiculous.
So $8 million. I wonder what are they doing with that extra money?
The NCAA
I
not giving it to women's sports. I'll tell you that.
I know. I just always bring that up. I'm always like, I would be all about it if you took that money and did something good with it. I mean, for $60,000, we have to keep in mind this isn't $6 million. I mean, in the grand scheme of the money going in and out of these NCAA programs, $60,000. That's like 200 people taking them out for like, I'll pay your hotel and take you out to a fancy dinner with bottle service. I don't know. To me, it's not buying, 200 people Lambos, and I don't know.
To me, if we don't do anything to Tennessee, this is the death knell for the NCAA. It means nothing.
No,
It doesn't matter anymore now.
It means nothing.
Yeah.
Everything that they're
it
talking
doesn't
about
now.
right now is happening
Legally,
quote unquote legally, or within the limitations and the regulations.
What happens if this was the University of South Florida?
South Florida.
Yeah. You think they can swing an $8 million fine?
They're not gonna charge
that's on them.
It's not gonna be that much.
So there's no consistency. There's no black and white anything to this.
It would be proportional.
Yeah, they're gonna get scholarship reductions. They may get a bowl ban depending on how they handled it initially.
So if you take away 25% of Tennessee scholarships and 25% of South Florida scholarship, there's probably a larger number, but I think you need to look at the percentage of it.
So are we saying that it's relative to the school?
It's proportionate to the school.
So Ohio State needed the bowl ban, but Tennessee didn't?
What?
Tennessee didn't get these things, Jim, because they've been doing things since Pruitt left. They self-imposed certain things, and they're like, okay, you've been doing things and we didn't require you to do. They never missed a bowl. They reduced their scholarships, Jim.
Okay.
That right there is going to hurt your football team to start with.
Yeah. That's going to take down your chances of a bowl game in and of itself.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and they should have got a bowl ban, period. At least.
The bowl ban to you is like this pedestal of punishment.
How much money did they bring in from the bowl bans? It's just going to pay their fine.
Potentially, if they're making bowls.
Okay.
If they're making bowls, Jim.
Tennessee's gonna make bowls, Muff.
Well, that's on the bowls. That's not on anything else. Good. No, he's admitting that they're good enough and they're a name, so they're going to get into a bowl somewhere.
Right. So the bowl ban just enables them to pay the fine and to slap on the wrist. This means nothing.
I don't think they're getting $8 million to go to the bowls they're going to.
Okay.
Anything else?
This is a joke, and it kills the NCAA even farther. And it's just a waste. Hell, a donor is probably going to pay this. Who's the owner of the Cleveland Browns?
Haslam.
Yeah.
He'll pay this for Tennessee.
You don't think Peyton Manning will?
No, he's too righteous. He's not going to do that.
He won't come anywhere near this one.
No.
That's we now know why Arch Manning didn't go to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want involvement.
Whatever. This is stupid. Let's keep moving.
Moving along, on the other side of this, we will have the Helmet Challenge, and this week's conference is, Jim?
The American Athletic Conference. Welcome to the AAC Helmet Championship, the selection show, if you will. This is a unique conference, unique helmets, lots of things. This is going to be hard for us. Some variations. We even got America representing in here. Muff, do you have the coin ready?
I do.
Okay. We're going to go from top to bottom. First up is Memphis versus Tulane. Memphis, hard to find pictures of their helmet. Have some variations. I kind of like their tiger stripe variation. Tulane with the face inside the wave, very cool. This is a very hard first round matchup for me. I'm gonna go to Nate first.
I like the tiger stripe, the Memphis one, the white with the blue.
Yep.
More, I like the character looking green wave.
So you're going with Memphis.
Correct.
Alex.
I like Tulane.
Okay. Muff.
I'm trying to separate. I like Tulane as a brand better, but I like the Memphis helmets better.
Ooh. I'm gonna go Tulane. I'm gonna have a coin toss. Leave it to the gods.
Tulane is which side, Jim? You get to count.
I'm gonna go with the light.
Tulane is the light. The light is victorious.
Tulane moves on. Okay. Temple versus East Carolina. I love the skull and crossbones. That is my pick. Muff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go East Carolina.
Alex.
East Carolina.
Clean sweep.
Boom. FAU versus Charlotte. I don't like Charlotte's helmet. I don't like FAU's helmet.
It's a dud of a first round matchup.
I know, very dud.
I know.
You just want the coin. You want to let the light decide this from the beginning?
Yeah, I don't really have a pick even.
Yeah, they're both boring.
All right, go to the coin. Coin light will be FAU.
It is not FAU.
Charlotte is in.
I would have picked Charlotte if we were picking, so I'll take that.
Oh, you said you didn't want to choose any of them, Alex.
I didn't care. I'm
Let's
just
talk
saying.
about a Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah.
North Texas versus Rice. North Texas with kind of an eagle ripoff helmet, and Rice with the Old English R.
I'm gonna go the mean green.
Okay.
I lean mean green. Even that made me laugh. I didn't think about that before I said it. It is kind of an Eagles ripoff, but I like it. So
Nate.
Yeah, I like the mean green one. Their matte black helmet with the green.
I agree with that, Nate. Thank you. I knew I could always count on Nate to find the blackouts. All right. SMU, Tulsa. SMU has some cool variants. Tulsa's okay.
I'll go on the SMU train.
Me too, Nate.
me three.
Yeah,
Boom.
I'm glad that I was not in the spot because I'm not sure which way I was gonna go.
Okay. Ugh. UTSA. Yeah, I don't know what UTSA is versus UAB.
The Roadrunners.
What do you think UTSA stands for, Jim?
United Texas State Association.
United Texas State Association, not the
That-
University.
that's
of
gonna be a-
Texas. Oh, got it.
That is going to be a short.
How many times have we talked about the Roadrunners for you not to know what school this is?
He knew they
Sorry,
were from
Alex.
Texas. I'll give him that.
Wow, he's got a fighting chance. Say California, Texas, or Florida.
Come on, Jim. Your context clues.
Or Tennessee.
UTSA.
I'm going UAB here.
That's probably safest for. Do you know what UAB is?
Good
Alabama.
question. At
That's enough. It's a
That's
joke.
enough.
it's not. It's Alabama. This is Crimson Tide. Roll Tide.
Oh,
So
bad.
Jim, we got a Jim votes Alabama.
Birmingham.
Yep.
Bingo. I'm going
We can do it.
UTSA just because of the Roadrunners.
I'm
I
going.
am as well.
Oh, I was going to go UAB.
Coin toss.
Alex, which is which?
The light is UAB. I like
the
red.
Roadrunners move on.
Oh.
Nuts. Oh.
Me.
Okay. South Florida versus Navy. Navy's other helmets are
Navy.
fantastic.
Yeah, Navy.
Yeah, no
That was
contest.
easy.
Yeah.
I was going to let him finish talking, but I don't really know why.
May as well just move Navy.
Wait a minute. Something has gone wrong here. Oh, never
You-
mind.
You have a bye for Navy into the next round, Jim.
I do. No, I don't. I don't. This is why.
It looks like you do.
I don't.
Who
And
got
this
their
is why I
bye?
set it up this way. I'm leaving this to the panel here. Wichita State does not have a football team, but the helmet over there in the corner is a proposed helmet for Wichita State. You can give Navy the bye, or we can make this a match.
I mean, either way,
Navy-
I'm picking Navy.
Yeah, Navy deserves the bye.
Yeah, Navy goes through.
Navy goes through.
I was gonna pick them either way. So
Starting at the top, UAB. No, wait, where am I at? Tulane versus East Carolina.
You're the Pirates.
ooh,
I'm with the Pirates. Sorry.
I am as well.
Boom.
I would have gone Green Wave.
I know you would have.
Full disclosure.
Thank God for Nate. Okay. This is shite. Charlotte versus North Texas.
Another dud of a second round matchup.
Yeah.
North Texas.
Yeah, I have to stay North Texas
Yeah.
on this one.
Okay. SMU, UTSA, the Roadrunners.
Beep beep.
Mimi.
SMU.
I'm with SMU too. Did not see
Nate.
Alex coming.
Nate, which is the light?
UTSA.
Oh, meet all the way to the next round.
Ah.
Oh,
The gods are favoring them today.
the United Texas States of America.
And
Wait a
Navy
minute.
through.
And Navy through.
You know what UTSA stands for, Samantha?
United.
Okay, never mind.
Don't take Jim's advice to start.
All right. So East Carolina, North Texas.
East Carolina.
Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. in that one.
Birds.
Oh, that's easy. I should have known that. I Googled it.
Roadrunners
Yeah.
or Navy?
Who would've
Navy.
told me what state
Navy.
it was in?
Muff.
Don't give up the ship, Jim.
Don't give up the ship. Don't you do it. Give up the ship. Don't you do
Okay. The Pirates versus Navy.
This is like an epic battle.
It could not have come out better.
I'm going Navy.
Don't
I'm
shoot.
going Pirates.
Don't shoot until you see the whites of their eyes, Jim. Give me the Navy.
Nate.
Sorry, Sydney and Brandon. I am going Navy.
Woo!
And Navy is your winner.
I was like, if we take this to
away, my boy.
if we take this to a coin flip and the Navy loses, I feel like we literally let America down on Jim's or Muff's pop light.
Yeah, that would. Ugh.
That's bad press.
It's bad. That's bad. It cannot help the betting situation going into this football season.
Yeah, bad juju.
Navy is your winner, folks. Navy is your winner.
Navy takes the AAC, and next week we will be talking about
The Mid-American Conference.
the MAC. Get some action. Some action in July.
I'm pumped because we got Marshall in there. I'm gonna try to run them right up the flagpole just for Alex.
I don't have a problem with Marshall.
I'm gonna try.
I don't know. I may be the odd person out in the Marshall fandom there.
That's the helmet challenge.
All right, which takes us into other interesting news in the sports world. Starting out in the WNBA, Jim.
Oh, I'm not even ready for you, Muff. Oh my goodness. What am I gonna do? Hold
If
on, Muff.
you'd like me to lead
Wait,
into
we can
this.
stall. I'll stall by asking if Sam wants to now insert her idea that she had earlier that was not allowed to be inserted.
Which one was that?
Oh, there's been multiple.
The one where you said, I have an idea. And Jim said, just hold on, Sam. That one.
Oh, I said I had no idea.
Oh, okay.
He said that he was a Ohio State fan.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that you had an idea. I was just giving you the opportunity to
I knew
present.
she was gonna say something smart ass. All right.
No, but I did start singing a song when you guys were just doing the bracket because somebody said from the top, and I started singing WAP, but nobody else caught it.
I caught it. I just ignored you.
All right, so Sabrina Ionescu. Did I say it right, Muff? I'm
You
trying.
got it. You got it.
All right. She scores a record 37 points in the WNBA three-point contest, breaking the WNBA and NBA records for the most 3 points in a shooting contest. She scored 37 out of the 40 possible points, surpassing single round record of 31 in the NBA done by Steph Curry, and 30 in the WNBA scored by Allie Quigley. What a fantastic achievement.
Yeah, I watched the playback on this and it was pretty exciting.
She was a robot.
Let's
It
go,
was
girls.
Just lights out. So kudos to her.
In other news, Steph Curry won the American Century Championship today in the golf world.
Hell of a hole in one he had, too.
He did. He did have a hole in one. And he won with a birdie putt on the
Eagle
last
putt.
hole. Oh, it was an eagle putt. You're right, Nate. He went with an eagle putt in the last hole to take the title from Marty Fish, former
What a
tennis
hell of a
player.
name.
Former tennis player, Jim.
Huh. We'll get more into tennis here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
We have experts now.
There was an all-star
Yeah.
game too, Jim. Did you
Nope.
okay. Well, there's other all-star games that we're not going to talk about much. LeBron James is going to go back to number 23 this season from number 6 out of respect
This is not news. This is not news. This is trash.
for Bill
Okay.
Russell.
The entire NBA chose to retire the number 6 for Bill Russell. They couldn't retire it fast enough because LeBron had the number 6. So they gave him a grandfather like they did other number 6 players. But it's a new season. And they gave LeBron, hey, buddy, maybe you should follow suit here and go back to number 23. And now old LeBron's like, I'm doing it for Bill. You're a Laker. Okay, I get that Bill Russell's a big deal.
And everyone's doing it.
And everybody's doing it, but like, you're a Laker. He was a Celtic. I don't know how much you know about Laker history, but stop saying shit like that.
LeBron doesn't care.
He doesn't.
He's
not a true Laker.
He's a mercenary.
Yeah.
Let's not forget he also used the ESPY stage this past week to announce that he was going to be playing this season.
Well, thank you for gracing us,
to quell the retirement rumors.
Lord James.
I think he's making the change from 623 to get a fresh start and some inspiration from the real number 23, not to flop as much because the NBA is putting harsher penalties for flopping this year, and he's
still gonna flop.
He needs to channel a much tougher player.
He's still gonna flop. Anyway, you want to talk about this hockey nut job?
Have at it, buddy.
Have at it.
Oh, buddy.
You were excited for this one.
Nate, help me out with the last name. Alex Galchenyuk.
Frank.
Galchenyuk.
Say it one more time, Nate.
Galchenyuk.
Galchenyuk was stopped by police this week for swerving and driving erratically. And he's a Arizona Coyote in the NHL. Well, was after they terminated his contract on Friday because during the stop, he cited his connections to Moscow while saying to the police officer, I'm going to chop you up, your wife, your daughter, one phone call and you're all dead. Your whole family, your bloodline is dead. He also was throwing out lots of racial and other obscenities to these police officers. Old boy thought he was back in Mother Russia and was just threatening to kill everyone.
Alex is a wild man.
So, like we've said, hockey players are built different, but I think the Russian ones got a little extra.
Oh yeah, it's like a double insult.
Yeah.
Especially when they've been drinking their vodka.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he got away from the vodka, and that was his problem that night. He went to the brown liquors and found out what happened.
Yeah. He tried to fit in with the American, whiskey, bourbon, whatever, and
it got to him.
He found out. He messed around and
found out. Yeah. So if you see Alex, avoid him while drinking.
Alex,
that's
the brown liquors make you threaten people?
Not threaten people, no. They make me silly.
Not this guy.
That's the word that I like to use for brown liquor, for any liquor, Alex. Silly.
Silly. Okay, let's move on to baseball with the MLB Home Run Derby and All-Star Game. The Home Run Derby was won by Vladimir Guerrero Jr., joining his father to become the first father-son duo to win the competition, but Julio Rodriguez, Seattle man, playing in Seattle for the Home Run Derby, stole the show early while hitting 41 dingers. That's a lot of dingers, guys. In his first round matchup against reigning champion Pete Alonso. What do we think? Did we watch any of this?
Nope.
Nate did. I know Nate did. Nate, how impressive was that performance?
41 home runs in any round anymore is just unimaginable. I mean, he couldn't miss when he was swinging. It only would have been better had he won the second round in the final.
Right. Because he went first, right? He went first in that
Yeah.
matchup?
Yes.
Right.
So he put it on Alonso to hit 41, and Alonso's pitcher, rightfully so, was getting shit afterwards because he was making Alonso work.
Yeah, he was. There was criticism for multiple pitchers, and I heard some discussion that it's like, hey, I think it's worth $1 million to win this. If you have the opportunity to win $1 million, don't bring, a friend or your dad or somebody that, unless they're pitching to you regularly, bring somebody that's going to help you hit home runs, not make it more difficult.
Right. That's what I kept saying is like you have these guys bring like their old high school coach, college coach, their dads or whatever, guys that aren't used to throwing that many pitches. Because you got to be robotic with your pitches to like be able to put it in that sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. Like time after time. Like it's not 1 out of 3. You got to do this. You got to be grooving them in there the whole time.
Well, and I think it also shows just how great their endurance is because you don't think baseball players have the endurance, but to go with that round at I think it's what, a couple minutes or like 4-minute round maybe, and you get one timeout or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But what's really crazy is the kid in the outfield that took an absolute piss missile to the face, right to the face, not to the dome, right to the face.
Yeah, did you see the picture they released afterwards? That
No,
somehow got.
That's one thing I didn't see.
Oh, that kid's eye was so swollen, and I'm surprised. I bet you that happens more. We just don't hear about it.
Yeah,
because it's like a free for all out there. It's like, here comes the kids from the local school or wherever to shag balls in the outfield or whatever, and they all just huddle in one spot depending on what side of the plate the dude's swinging from.
Is it time to rethink the kids in the outfield situation?
Nah.
I don't think so. I think you just got to tell them, listen, I know you all want to catch the ball, but please spread out.
Maybe we have a little competition to see who gets out there. Make sure you can.
So here's my question. We've gone how many years with letting these kids run around in the outfield and catch the balls? No one's really ever died that I know of.
Well, Alex, I would say they didn't put up the nets along the first and third base lines until people were almost dying.
Well, but do you think that the players now with their I don't know, do you think they're hitting the ball harder? Do you think that there's a new what if you put up a net to where if it's accidentally going to be a line drive or something, it would protect them. And then you just put them in okay, you have to stay in this general area of the field. You can't be running across all lines, so you don't have 85 kids in one area. I don't think we take the kids away. I think that's half the fun is watching them run around.
Big game of hopscotch in the outfield then. Here's your box. It's number 1. Stay there.
I mean, if you're just put a line, you have 10 kids, okay, don't cross laterally, Well,
I think it goes back a little bit in a way to when they talk about the guys that get called up from the minors, saying it's a completely different animal whenever you're looking up and you're used to tracking a ball in the sky and you're trying to track it in the lights, or for these kids, now you're trying to track it in 3, 4, 5 decks high, and you're not used to seeing a ball meshed in with a bunch of people in their shirts and all that. You're just looking up in the bright blue sky. It's there's the white ball coming right at me.
Maybe you have to do tryouts. If you can't protect yourself out there, you don't get to be out there.
Yeah, if you can't make your local all-star team, you don't deserve to be at the all-star game for the big boys.
Yeah, if you can't at least smack the ball away with a glove and not get hit in the face, you don't get to play.
Here we go. There
I'll
it
be
is.
charged for that.
The All-Star game also happened, and the NL won this year, snapping a 9-game losing streak. And that's the story, because it had terrible ratings. But to its credit, I'm still going to say this with not a lot of conviction, it does still hold the edge over the NBA and NFL All-Star games, or Pro Bowl in the case of the NFL, because it's the only thing going on in the middle of summer.
Right. And the only other thing that I really noticed this year, which I'm sure they've done in years past, that is because I don't watch the actual game, I just watch the Derby, is I wish they would let them wear their actual jerseys so you can see all the different teams represented out there. Don't make them all wear the same shirt that says national and it has their team logo and whatever color on their sleeve.
Yeah, I agree. It is, especially now. I mean, I just don't know enough. I don't keep up enough with baseball to know what players on what team, so that would help me want to maybe watch it, at least aesthetically. So, Jim, baseball talk's over. It's your time to shine, buddy.
Ugh,
The little talked about tennis is going to be tackled by Jim today.
Now, I don't know if I'm going to tackle it. I can tell you that Carlos Alcaraz beat.
This is tennis. You got to grunt.
Do what?
This is tennis. You got to grunt.
No, I can't like that. I tried today. It was funny. Beat Novak Djokovic 5 sets at Wimbledon. Okay.
There tea in there?
Listen, buddy. Listen. You want me to cover tennis? You want to be a dick? It's your move. Okay.
Was Novak immunized?
No. I can say this is the first time in 10 years that Djokovic has lost, having only lost the last time in 2013. The match lasted for 4 hours, 42 minutes, was the third longest final in Wimbledon history. It was pretty freaking epic.
Did you watch the whole match?
I watched the whole match.
Jesus.
I watched the whole thing.
How many bottles of liquor did you go through?
I was sober the entire time.
What?
The entire time.
4.5 hours you did this sober?
It was an amazing thing to watch. And like, I'm not going to sit here and promote tennis. Okay. I watched it for a couple of things. One, seemed pretty historic because this was the battle of 1 versus 2. The winner of this match was going to be the number 1 player in the world. Okay. 2, you're talking about somebody who's 20 something versus the 36-year-old, god of tennis. So it was young versus old. And you were talking about like, this was a war. Now,
wasn't there a game that went to how many deuces?
13? No,
yeah,
it
was
like 18.
It was an incredible number. It was like, I think around 20, so that 18 sounds about right.
Yeah. At 13 is where I was like, this is never going to end.
Mm-hmm. And we're not going to explain what deuce is. I mean, I could try to explain it, but it's not worth it. It just means it extends the game
a long time. Yeah. But it was pretty impressive. I think the mental wherewithal of both these guys is a testament to why they're athletes. Sure, the jumping, the grunting, the running back and forth in the hot day, yeah, that makes them athletes. But the mental wherewithal in this match, game, sets, whatever you want to break it down to, was impressive. At one point, Djokovic broke his racket.
Out of frustration, or
oh yeah, he just was pissed and broke that shit
at himself, or was it at like the chair umpire, or
they were never mad at the chair umpire.
Okay,
but himself, the young kid, I don't know, but it was fun to watch. I'm not gonna give you a lot of tennis analysis because I have no freaking idea what to break it down to. But it was definitely one of those things that you can say, yeah, I watched that, and it was epic.
Will you watch tennis in the future? Like a championship match. I'm not saying like casually.
I think if there has this much, one, like it was a domino thing for me. There was nothing on television. The NASCAR race was canceled. I wasn't gonna watch baseball. And I turned it on because it was the finals. and the storyline bought me in.
So
And
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna
It was
say
just like they did really good at, as the thing was happening, to throw more shit at me to make me go, oh, okay, I'll buy it even farther. Like I didn't know it was 10 years since Djokovic lost until set 3, 4. And I was like, oh well, now I'm in. Now I'm invested. Like,
I
So-
have a tendency to do that. Like you're gonna watch something that you wouldn't normally watch just to say you watched it live when someone brings it up years from now.
yeah.
So if you had the opportunity, this is outside of tennis because we know tennis ranks above baseball now. If golf is on or baseball is on, you have to choose one. Which do you go for?
It goes to the storyline for me. Remember, I'm a wrestling fan. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So like I tried to come back because I'd seen on the thing on the bottom that Rory and his match today was kicking ass. And I was like, oh, Captain America. I want to see how that does.
Captain America playing in the Scottish Open, and Captain America's from Ireland. Got it.
Yeah, I was like, I want to see how that is. But like there wasn't enough bite for me to keep watching. So like I can't say that I'll choose golf. Whereas like if I see 1 versus 2 in tennis, I might go back to tennis. But I can tell you, like, it was the crowd also helped because, and this is something I'm gonna have to get a tennis expert. It's been a while since we had a guru on the show, but the Wimbledon crowd was cheering against Djokovic, like bad. They wanted this kid to win, and I didn't get that. I couldn't relate to that. Maybe it's because I'm old, but I did not want that young kid to win.
Yeah.
And I tried to relate it to American sports. I tried to be like, is this the Tom Brady that we want to see fall? Is that what I'm watching? Like, I still couldn't do it.
Sort of, kind of. I mean, that is kind of what you're watching.
Right. Am I trying to see the downfall of the GOAT? But I couldn't get behind it.
Well, we now know where Jim ranks tennis, and maybe we'll talk about tennis that's next, the U.S. Open in tennis.
I don't know.
I think that's.
I'll watch this before baseball. I'll tell you that much.
There we go. Well, we're going to end this week's episode with an update on a baseball topic: the Alabama baseball betting scandal. Strap
This
in.
is chaos to me.
Strap in. An investigation by Sports Illustrated published last Monday found that Bert Eugene Neff Jr., a former youth baseball coach who befriended former Alabama head coach, what first name, Nate?
Not a clue.
Bohannon, attempted to make the bet. This is the bet in question that got all this blown out in the open. More than $100,000 at Cincinnati's BetMGM Sportsbook at the ballpark. The wager, as we all know, was on LSU to win the game against Alabama. Sportsbook's employees stopped Neff from completing the bet because there was little interest in the game from other bettors. Surprise, surprise, nobody else is trying to lay tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on this game. And the amount surpassed the house limit on the sport. So before we get into the rest of this,
Thank you.
how dumb is this guy?
Well, hold
Did not
on.
have done some of his homework to understand how much can I even bet on this game at this particular sports book.
I would like to go one step farther back, Muff.
Okay.
Didn't realize that there was a limit as a casual bettor. 2, how did he come up with this? Like, how did he come up with this number? 3, can you imagine an employee coming up to you and saying, I'm going to stop you there, sir? Like, can you imagine being that employee?
Right. No, I won't take your $100,000.
And the only red flag there is nobody
The
else
amount.
is interested.
Well, yeah, it's not like on a game that everyone's rushing up to bet on.
So, like, well, all right, sir, you've hit our limit and nobody's really interested. So we're not going to let you do this.
Well, this is
Like, that's
this
it
is,
at that point.
This is this is embedded right in all these other betting scandals. What was it? The Boston College betting scandal. Like the guy that did that in Vegas spread out his bets amongst many people in different sports books. Like he was in it, figured it out for a little bit until they caught on. So like even he figured it out, at least for a little bit. So, right, all of that, you're done first off for not doing some homework before you get into this.
Yeah. But again, like, and this is where I need to read the article. Is the red flag, is it a red flag, or is the TikTok say, is it a beige flag? Is there any flag, or is it, hey man, listen, nobody's betting on this game and you're hitting our limit, and we're going to stop you there.
Yeah.
It's not, there's no real flag that trips that says this guy's got some kind of knowledge we don't have. Like, where are we at in that?
That's the red flag. There's not a lot of action on this game. It's a big bet on a game that not a lot of people were betting on. What is this? That's the red flag.
Or is that the way the article is spinning this? Or is this just
That's how sports books work. If they notice something that's not normal or that is incredibly outrageous, they're going to stop you at least to ask somebody about it.
and that's what I'm asking, Muff.
Yeah.
I hate to kill this. We're doing a lot of dead air or wasted air here, but my question is that like, batten down the hatches, let's investigate, or is it, hey, stop this dumbass?
It's, hey, why is this happening?
So it's a start launch an investigation.
I'm not saying investigation. They're going to start asking questions. Investigation, I think, is a bit harsh to say at that point.
So like at that point, we're gonna be like, this guy just doesn't understand the rules. This guy doesn't really get what he's doing.
Oh no, they're going to say, why are you betting this much money on this game? The biggest bet we have other than this is $50.
Okay.
It's big red flags. Also came out and said there's video surveillance that revealed that Neff was texting Bohannon, again, the former Alabama baseball coach, while attempting to make the bet. So in real time, he's texting the coach. He had information. Obviously, we knew that there was going to be a pitcher change that was going to greatly benefit LSU. Again, he's getting this from Alabama's head coach, who they were playing that day. During this time, this is alleged at this point. I haven't seen this substantiated, but did hear conversation on it. He also was trying to push hard, saying that, no, I've got some good information on this. You need to let me place this bet. Come on, guys. I need to get this bet in.
Which also is admitting a problem.
Yeah, right.
And it makes it look even worse.
Right? At that point, I feel like he's like, I think they got me. So I may as well just go all in on this and see if they just let me get it down.
Yeah. Maybe if I win a ton of money, my fine will be less and I'll still come out on top.
Right. Well, I mean, if they let him place the bet, I don't think they can really do much at that point, can they? They can probably tie it up and paying it out if it wins.
Well, I mean, like, I meant like if if he gets in trouble and has to pay fines for like placing a bet that you shouldn't be and all of that.
Nothing here says the coach did anything wrong to me.
Unless he was in on the monetary portion of it.
Correct. The information you've provided in these notes, again, I want to read this article real bad. Nothing here says the coach did anything wrong.
No, he still did something wrong. He was tipping somebody about the game.
No. All he said was, hey, I'm sorry. Like, he could be like, damn, my pitcher's out. I got to start this poor kid who hasn't seen the mound in forever.
So a head coach in the NFL does the same thing to a buddy down the road. Are you going to say the same thing?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I think the line then becomes, hey, go put some money down. If he blatantly says, hey, brother, I know you're a gambler, or if he knows this guy is a habitual gambler, then yes.
Let me add this layer, which I don't have in the notes, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get into this. Neff is apparently also a huge recruiting man for baseball. So he's in the know, can help push players certain directions because he's one of those inside guys.
I still have, to me, this does nothing wrong in betting. This is more of, man, I got a pitcher issue. Help me get somebody. Help me find somebody because I'm running thin. A recruiting issue, yes.
Oh, which is then a violation?
Correct. But not a betting issue yet for me.
Okay. I think we're going to be on opposite sides of that fence.
I'm not saying it's not there. I'm saying I would like to see some more information.
Okay. Sports Illustrated. Read up on it.
I
mean, those are the basic premises. I don't think you're going to get much more out of it, but
like if there's a text exchange, it's like, hey man, lay 100K down, lay as much money as you can down, because we're gonna lose this motherfucker. Then yeah,
What do you think? He just decided he was going to put 100K down?
we don't know what this idiot decided
That's
because he's a moron.
He is a moron. He is a moron, and we are a show that celebrates moronic behavior, discusses it, and gives you our opinions. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. As a reminder, follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, sportsstuffw/Jim, Ampersand Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Get us on Threads at Sports Jim Muff. Take this rocket ship to the moon, and to do that, you have to tell a friend, make a friend, be